Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of, yes, you guessed again, Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice. So we're just going to continue this. We are making this episode. Ooh, pause. We lost a CL out here. Okay. I guess with this fleet or this fleet, maybe that fleet against some I was going to get more destroyers out there, which they need. Okay, well, hopefully this invasion will continue well enough. There had been 3 units there, and we're now down to Jarvis Island and the National Guard, so I think they're going to take that. Okay, gun ability, twin engine airplanes, has advanced technologies, armament. I'm just always hesitant to reduce range. And more rebels everywhere. Okay. Now what we need to do is see where we have rebels that I know I'm just finished reducing down these units here, so sort of why we still have these guys. Come back after that. Oh, bunch up here. Okay. Come back after you're done crushing them. Yeah, because I want especially you guys to guard that. Might disrupt a few things, but isn't going to cause us any real problems because we're not the AI. Okay, you guys come over here. Come on, supply right into there. Send in large amounts of supply. Okay, we've lost the Gulf of Tonkin effects because we've temporarily lost this. We'll get that back as soon as we can. Okay, well, maybe this will speed it up. Come back. Okay, capital ship fire control. Grayed out. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Better anti-submarine warfare. Well, if somehow we could defeat them, that'd be nice, but I don't know that we will. And taking out another light cruiser. Come on, get ashore, get these guys. Down to the Royal Omani Army Colonial Cavalry unit of some sort. Okay. Okay, cruiser fire control. Grayed out, fine, good. Light cruiser escort role has advanced. Oh, up in the corner. Okay, and naval air targeting. Okay, well, we've got some extra now. Tiny bit. When you choose techs, is that also institutional, or is it a matter of experience or just guessing game? And do you have any tips for me on my first Barbarossa? I'm going historical, but the date 8-1 and okay. It's a combination. It's some of all of that. Some of the historical, some of it is like I have no plans of building assault guns, so I'm not researching that. I've yet to really decide to want to make any heavy armor, so I'm not doing any of that. But I've done infantry support tanks, and I have a bunch of light armor, and I should be doing that one. I just haven't. Just missed it somehow. And so I haven't done... So some of the stuff is sort of what's needed. Some of the stuff is a bit of a guess on... Guess / look at the stats for like air usage. I don't just use a lot of like logistical strikes or interdiction tactics. So yeah, like this would help my CAG duty efficiency as well. So that would be good to do. I don't do air-based strikes normally. So some of these I'm just not doing for that. Some I'm doing historical. So it's sort of a mix of reasons of sort of experience and plans. So like if I am playing as Germany, I'm also going to do rocket artillery because there's some good reasons for having rocket artillery and doing that. But as Japan, I've decided I'm not going to build any, so I'm just ignoring that that kind of thing. And for Barbarossa, okay. Your biggest problem will be supply with Barbarossa. It's going to be your biggest problem. You can look back at the previous campaign where I did a early 1940 Barbarossa. You know, literally as soon as the war was over with Poland, I renounced the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, moved my forces right up to the border with the Soviets. My German forces did not attack in France and the Low Countries, and pushed and defeated the Soviet Union. And quite a surprise to me, quite honestly, that I was able to defeat them. But I immediately rolled east. So not after the usual sort of break, but just going fast. And then, of course, I normally do mine. If I do it later, I normally do it in 42, because I take the time to first defeat France and then control the Mediterranean and then move here. So I don't know if it matters so much the date as the difficulty matter, because as time goes by, the Soviets build up more and more forces. I think it's the supplies. So you got to keep that in mind. Supply, supply, supply. When you're looking at this sort of a border, supplies don't matter. It's once you get to here, you really start losing ability to supply forces. And particularly right in here becomes supply hell, right along the Don River here. You'll notice you'll be able to move right up to this Don River and hold there, but to try to move almost anything past it, and even there you'll be out of supply, and so you won't be able to attack much, and you'll get very intermittent and bad supplies. So it'll be supply, supply, supply. Now, how to deal with the problems with supplies. One, research every bit of tech that here we go, these type of techs that help supply throughput, and look for them all. Logistical warfare, supply throughput costs. Look around for any tech to help you with supply throughput. What some people do is build lots of infrastructure in this area. Now you will find events, and it'll actually, so because of things that will happen, it'll make infrastructure go down a level, and then as you get to control enough of an area, you'll have events fire that will put on, I think it's a standard 2, increase the level of whatever the local infrastructure is by 2. Take those, once you have enough of the area, because any area you don't control won't be upgraded. So if you're like almost ready to get this area and it's sort of in this region, you won't. There will be other events that will just, generally speaking, I think called the Express, like Leningrad Express or Minsk Express, that will just generally be effects. They won't change the infrastructure levels, but it'll be effects that will just improve supply throughput. You will want to take those more or less as soon as you get through. Other people like to build infrastructure as, you know, let's click in an area where we can, you know, click here and build it. I normally don't, because of two reasons. One, you can't specify the path in which the supplies will take. And sometimes they seem to take really stupid paths, deciding to go across really bad territory. In fact, I would like to be able to destroy infrastructure in some areas to force it down channels that I make of, you know, a few provinces wide, and then to have the supplies more good. So I can't specify where the supplies go. And so you have to sort of, I would always leave the pre-pit marches blocked to just have it go around either side of this block. But you have to improve the whole infrastructure as you go. And that will cost you a lot of production capabilities. And time. That's the other critical thing. And time. So I don't want to build infrastructure. Sometimes if I find where it looks like the supply chain is going, and like, I don't know, like right here, that this one province, everything else is more orange or yellow, and I don't know what this province is here, but, or something. If there's just like one critical province, sure. You know, so tune this up a little bit, okay. But beyond that, no. What I want to spend my ICs on are these. Oh. And particularly, no, they're over here, sorry. These, and they're probably going to starve for lack of supplies. These, the heavy transport. I like to build the heavy transport. Transports are okay, planes, but really the heavy transports. And they're going to be expensive. And if you just start building them, they're going to be expensive. What's cheaper to build are heavy bombers. So you might want to see about building a few heavy bombers to get your practicals up first. But start building and keep building some heavy transport planes. They're wonderful. What I do is have, say, I don't know, 3 heavy transport planes sitting here in Berlin. And they fly supplies to, say, here, or whatever the next furthest away big airport is. And then I have 3 heavy transport planes for here, and they fly to this airport or somewhere up here. And then I have another 3 heavy transport planes that will fly supplies into where they're needed. So I do 1 or more supply bridges like that. Plus, I like to I make sure I control at least 1 Mediterranean port that's German all the way down and through, not a Greece situation. So sort of Paolo here and Afili here. Get these 2 to then run supplies out through here into Black Sea ports as I get them, as well as run supplies from Cetin to Baltic Sea ports as I get to control them. And then take your regular supply planes and or heavy supply planes from air bases in the ports. So you base you have supplies coming to here, and then you have aircraft here that then flies supplies into where you critically need them. Okay, so that is the situation. Beyond that, I think it's easy, quite honestly. And now maybe I play at sort of standard levels of difficulty, not easy levels of difficulty, but standard, not super hard. But I find the biggest problem is supply on a Soviet invasion. I also like to do naval landing strategies down into here. I know some people like to do them up into here, but I normally find that I'm just pushing my armor fast enough through here that they don't help much. But I like to land in this part of the world here to create fronts down here to divide Soviet attention. But beyond that, I don't have much advice other than, you know, be smart, you know, of your tactics. So that and that is useful for anybody who's watching, of course, not just you. So that's one of the reasons I did it. So I hope that helps Rick and anybody else watching. Okay, so we just had a hit down here. There. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, got too many. So let's see. I want to grab this and this. And so we're going to add a pocket battleship to give it a little more surface punch. We can see it just has one destroyer. So what we want to do is add another destroyer, which will add better anti-submarine warfare. And we want to add what is it? Osaka, because that has a lot of anti-aircraft support. So now we have a relatively pretty good fleet there with good CAGs, you know, total of 4 CAGs. And so since we just had that last little oh no, we want to do C hit here on our supply line. So let's come here and we'll start patrolling. Yeah, I love to learn new things too, and that's, you know, I always take that as a very good reason to watch stuff. Major victory. Where did we get the major victory? Oh, good. We're ashore. We're ashore. Okay, so let's let the game flow just a bit, because I think they're gonna surrender. Or only move their capital. Okay. Well, that means we'll need to move in. Oh, wait a minute. You're gonna move there just in case. You can go back. You're gonna stay there. Supplies into Muscat. Yeah, we'll go straight out of Tokyo. Trying to make it a little shorter, probably isn't gonna help much. Yeah, that's the division I'm worried about that may get forced. Okay, we've won because we conquered it. Good. Okay. Good. No, you stay, occupy. You attack there. And yeah. No. You're going back to there. Good. As soon as we reoccupy that, I think we'll get the Gulf of Tonkin effect back. Oh. Nope, that's too many to get on board the ship. Damn. Okay. I think I'd rather have a military police. Okay, they are there. Of course they are there. Well, you know, let's head here. 2 military police units there. Now, those guys I sort of want somewhere else, but let's grab 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be a good starting point. And come down, rebase down to here. We're going to put garrisons on these ports. Keep revolt risk down. get supply throughput better. That could be part of the problem. Okay, Battle of Samoa, we've won. Very good. Partisan suppression has advanced. Let's see our current levels of partisan suppression, 42. So yeah, we'll let that continue. Submarine holes have advanced. Opens up a lot of other options. So, but that has moved it into 45, which is too far in advance. But it opens up other electroboat. Let's do. We already had that. Yeah. Electroboat. Don't know what. How did we get this without that? I don't know. Okay. Silent running drive. We need long range submarine class at least 4. So we want to do long range submarine. Get electric or silent drive. That will help. And we've won the Battle of Dubai. There is an old saying, and there is some truth to it. Professionals study logistics, amateurs study tactics. Now, of course, I am an amateur. Could have called myself that, or armchair general, but so I make no great claims to real generalship, but that sort of gets back to those tactics of logistics are being more important. Now I know we don't have any headquarters nearby. Oh well. Okay. We've got these guys here. I'll come up to here. Hopefully you'll make it without any trouble. We got these guys moving around. Those auxiliaries. Where's American Samoa? Okay. Oh, we got a battle going off out here. Okay, against submarines. Good thing we have some, hopefully, ships that will deal with that well. Okay, the Nagato is badly shot up, so let's head the Nagato at least first to this port. Rebase to there. You're doing okay. Gulf of Tonkin effect back, so we have more leadership again. Yay. Oh, what? Sorry. I have thought about it, and I have thought about Ultimate General. It would be a fun exercise. It would be controversial, which could be good for the channel, but could also be very, very bad. Because I have mixed feelings over the Civil War. Yeah, it would be something to do. It's not high on the list, but it's definitely something to do. So I'll think about it. Whenever people poke me in directions, it makes me think more about it. Who is the Quartermaster General for? To the best of my knowledge, there wasn't one in that sort of sense as a military general in charge of supplying the troops, which is different than the production head, which I presume we would all know these later wars, Albert Speer. But Albert Speer is production. He is not supply. I forget who. There was one guy in charge of the railways, and he did a marvelous job at managing the railways. German railways became probably the most efficient railways. Maybe America's were better, but in some ways they were very much on the American plan without maybe knowing about it or thinking about it in those terms. Can these guys walk to here? No, they're going to have to be in the other invasion. But these guys are too shot up to keep fighting. So, and oh, Oberkommando der Heers, the head of the army, was basically in charge of the Eastern Front supply. And Ober de Kommando der Wehrmacht, the armed forces, which includes the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and that's sort of Hitler's controlling element, is what controls supply or controls operations in the Western Front. So it's divided that way. The Army is controlling the Army in the Eastern Front. The armed forces, sort of like the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is controlling the Army in the Western Front. And it's really sort of a mixed situation that isn't handled very well. Now, it probably is a good idea in the sense that it's too much for any one headquarters to manage. Two, actually sort of three fronts, because you have the Mediterranean. And I think the Mediterranean more fell under OKH than or OKW. OKW was mostly here, Wehrmacht. But it also was a fair amount of chaos because who's in charge and what's going on, and so a lot of conflicts going on without clear lines of delineation. So it's a mess for Germany. It really is a mess. And then you also have elements that aren't in the army that are doing logistic support, particularly like the RAD, the Reich Arbeitsdienst, the National Labor Service, is sort of the colloquial translation of it, is doing a lot of things, from literally driving trucks to literally guys out there with shovels building roads, you know, just literally at points literally just miles behind the front line, trying to repair roads to keep divisions moving up to the front, to then being, I don't know, 100 miles behind the lines repairing roads to keep supply trucks, you know, getting to the front, kind of thing. And as well as Transportation Corps Speer, which is sort of under Speer, which is sort of under the NSKK, because it was an NSKK thing, which is sort of also under the Luftwaffe, because mostly its duties was to support logistically the Luftwaffe in forward basing kind of thing. So you get a lot of crossover. You know, who's supplying the Hermann Goering division? Right now, I don't know. Was it the Luftwaffe because it was a Luftwaffe unit? Was it the the Army because it was attached to, I don't know, 3rd Corps of the 5th Army of the Army Group South, or whatever it might have been? You know, who's supplying the Hermann Goering division with supplies? All the Waffen SS units. Who is supplying them? Can't be the Army in some elements, because they use different ammo than the Army did. And their rockets, particularly, I'm thinking. The rifle ammo was the same. But in their rockets, they're using a different type of rocket on their rocket artillery than the Army's using. And so who's supplying it? And when you have a load of rockets sitting back in, I don't know, Breslau, wherever Breslau is here. Breslau, when you have a huge load of rockets that need to be put on a train, and you have a huge load of artillery shells to be put, maybe also in Breslau, huge loads of artillery shells for the Army, which load gets put on next, for this train load, more than a boxcar full, like a full train load full of rockets and a full train load full of artillery shells. Who gets priority? I don't know. And you can see the sort of chaotic situation. No. Dead people don't work well for those purposes. Trust me about that. And horses know because you don't want horses. Remember, the primary transport for the German army were horses. Horses aren't going to do well around dead horses. So no, no, no. And even though I'm sure dead horses will smell, because horses will smell and realize dead horses, and they won't like being around dead horses, and rotting horses and whatnot. So no, no, no. And they won't like being around dead humans very much either. Hey, thanks for following the channel. So they won't like that so much. And yeah, that's just a myth. Just a myth. Yeah. Lots of wacky myths around World War II that, if you look at it, is like another myth is that the dead in the during the dead of building the Great Wall of China were placed in the wall. That would destroy the wall, quite honestly. There were probably large numbers of people died during the construction of the Great Wall of China over the 100 or so years that it was made, because it was made in starts and stops and rebuilt and all kinds of stuff. They were built in graveyards, maybe very much within sight of the wall, maybe within 10-20 feet of the wall, but you don't put dead people in a wall and think it's going to be structurally sound. That's just another myth. Oh hell, we had a rising here and I didn't notice. Will the anti-aircraft artillery be enough? Oh, to take it? Well, now that these guys are here, come up here. And since I don't have TRE installed, because I didn't want it for various reasons, good ones I think, but TRE in it has an event in it that you don't normally see, that says Taiwan is Japanese, so it removes all of the cores for communist and nationalist China, so that you don't ever get this happening, because it would not have happened then. Okay, let's see, what do we want to do here? Oh, we were looking earlier at that we should be doing light armor design improvements. Okay, so you guys are moving here. Fight off these Americans here. Okay, we finally lost that. But there must have been maybe 30 or so units there. Okay, oh, and we also need to... Everybody on board boat. On board a boat. And go there. Okay, yes, good. That's what we're trying to do, is take out those American subs. They're too banged up. These guys are a little banged up, but come down here anyways. Now that you've got some organization. Okay, you're attacking across the river and that's just not doing well, so we're going to stop that until we get these guys. Here, okay, you've been having supply problems, you're finally there. You guys move in there. Okay. Okay, this isn't working out well, so let's stop this. Yes, major defeat. What I want to do now is, well, they no longer have supply because all these guys are here. Okay, all but one of you, get on board the boat. You rebase. And have they ever made it up to here? I know I sent... Yeah, it looks like it. You're on a tour to pick up divisions that are been formed. We're going to have the concentration of troops with all of these guys to invade Australia. We just now got to think, well, you're coming back here, you're still, yeah. We want to see about, we have another fleet over, well, it's the one that's patrolling out here. Okay, those two will probably be enough. Well, we have the Tai-Ho group over here, bottling up these guys as we battle our way into there. I didn't miss much. Yeah, you're right. I don't think there was ever really a Polish Lancer cavalry charge on any tank unit, and I remember hearing those myths many, many years ago. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff still going around. It's hard to dispel because it makes a really good story. And that is often just the case of why it happens. Good stories. Okay, yeah, we're not doing any of that. Okay, extra wide tracks, gasoline engine, organization toughness. I want to come down here and continue to see what we can do to improve our submarines. And it's time to end the episode. So I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. I'm trying to keep these down to about 30 minutes. This one's gone on a little longer. Hope that's good for watching, getting people to want to watch the videos a bit more. So please post your feedback on anything, quality of the video, the audio, or what I'm doing. So thanks so much. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.